Welcome. My name is Brad Holthusen. I am a part of the Fathers Club and a dad with boys at Blue Valley and a daughter that's going to be there. As we sit, it is President's Day 2021, February 15th. It is freezing cold outside, and I am here with my buddy Ira Lockhart with Jersey Boys Subs. Excited to interview today, Ira. Appreciate you doing this. For our Blue Valley Fathers Club online virtual job or career fair summit is the purpose of this interview. So Ira, tell us a little bit about what you do at Jersey Boys, kind of what a day in the life of Ira is like.
Well, hello everyone out there. My name is Ira Lockhart. I am the owner of Jersey Boys Subs in Deli, located in Overland Park, Kansas. And my wife is a partner also of mine, and as in life, also, you always have to have that good, solid partnership, and that is my foundation and my rock. But otherwise, I pretty much run a deli, which serves the greater community here in this area, South Johnson County, with deli meats and so forth. A particular brand, which is Boar's Head, which is a specific brand, and sandwiches. We make sandwiches and serve the public in this area, and it's been around for about 21 years. And so it's a staple in this community, and we like to keep the community abreast of what's going on, and we hire all those in the community, as is most of our customers are from the community. So we kind of give it back and pay it forward, and they come back in. So we pretty much like to say we raise their kids during this time as they're getting through high school and learning, and most of them are their first jobs are here, and actually a lot of them are still here even when they come back from college. So I run this on a daily basis. I'm here every day. I'm a hands-on kind of person, so I have to get in the thick of it and get my hands a little dirty. So that's pretty much how I run things. I do the ordering and everything from cooking to cleaning to the works and the hiring, and I don't micromanage anyone, but I tend to help them out and move them along in the right direction, and it's a learning process. I'm actually teaching them a little bit about life skills and what it takes to work with other people and in the business world. And my background is business, a huge business person. So I kind of try to touch all facets of that with the kids here, and they are kids. They're like my kids. And so I think it's a great asset to me to have them here, and the community and the parents allow the kids to work here with us.
So let me ask you, before you go into your business background and what kind of got you to Jersey Boys, I'm one of your regulars. I absolutely love your number 4 Italian, half on white, standard dressing, no onions. I think I say it to you about 4 times a week. So one day I'm sitting in there, I'm talking to your wife. I asked her, how'd you guys, get into taking over Jersey Boys? And she told me, I don't know how much truth was to this or not, but she said, boy, Ira has really always wanted to run and own a restaurant. So tell me a little bit about that. Through the lens of, I was doing these things before, and here's why I wanted to do this. Tell us a little bit what you love about it. Tell us a little bit about what's hard about it, and tell us a little bit about, I'm guessing, how every day is not the same. You wake up and it's not like you do the exact same things every day, but what that typical week looks like.
Well, again, you hit that on the nose. My wife, she'll let you know that I've always wanted to run a restaurant. It was kind of my silent the wish in the back of my mind, like, I'd like to, if I had a chance to do that, I'd do it this way and that way. So as time has gone on and throughout my life, I'd actually worked for Chipotle. I was a regional director for Chipotle. And once I got into that, I thought, wow, this is interesting. So I was pretty much behind the scenes, working with different managers and the different people. And I saw what I was able to do and get done as a regional director, and a little bit of influence in my position. And I thought, like, what, if I ever get a chance one day, I pretty much can probably run this just as well as they do. And I took some of the skills with me and the mindset, and absorbed pretty much everything they threw at me. And as you do know, Chipotle is quite successful. So what I took from them, I thought I can bring into the business arena. But it was still several years down the road. And eventually I saw an opportunity. I saw an opportunity with a fellow teacher. I had started teaching. I'll skip a little. I started teaching with a gentleman, and he came up to me and said, you know, my brother-in-law bought a restaurant and they don't know what they're doing. And he said, could you look at it? Because I heard you were at Chipotle. And I thought, you know, I don't want to really get back into it. He says, well, just take a look at it and see what you think. Just as a friend, I thought, sure. So I came out and looked at it and thought, wow, this is interesting. And they had no idea what they were doing. One was a banker and one owned a doggy daycare. And they had no experience in the restaurant business. They thought, you buy the restaurant and the people just come. So after about 3 or 4 months, they were starting to panic because, of course, you know that if there's no revenue coming in, they're in a little bit of trouble. So I came in and saw and looked at it a little, and I kind of was hesitant. And I talked to my wife, which is a big factor in why, you know, I was able to move forward, because without her blessing, I wouldn't have done it. And she said, you know what, if you think you can do it, I think you should take a shot at it. So I said, okay. These are the parameters. So I threw some ideas at them and said, this is what I need to have done, and I'll come on board. And making a long story short, I'll cut into it later if you need to know a little more, but I came on board, and I actually came on board as a silent partner without the staff knowing who I was. So I worked for about 3 or 4 months as a regular worker, and they thought, who is this guy, this older guy doing dishes and making sandwiches? So I was kind of undercover boss.
Undercover boss.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I did that from January to May and started fixing things and changing things. And they were kind of like, they accepted me as who I was, but they weren't sure. A couple of them started to question and thought, he knows a little bit more than probably most people would know as a dishwasher. So about May or June, we came to an agreement with the 2 other partners. I was eventually introduced as the new owner, one of the new owners of the restaurant, and eventually took over and started working my way through it and saw the day-to-day operations, what can and couldn't be done, and realized that the reason it wasn't working out is because I'm a hands-on person, and I think Brad knows me. I like to engage and be part of what's going on, because I think that's your progress there, and then your results are based on what you put into it. And so eventually I told them, you know what, I think the best bet is if I just buy you guys out and me continue on, because if we don't put 100% in each of us, we're not going to get that percentage out of it. So if I'm going to do it, I'd rather do it. And we became really close and good friends, and they thought it was a good idea. And from this point on, we're still good friends, and I bought them out. And for the last several years, I have full control of the restaurant, my wife and myself. And it's actually, the numbers have gone up and things have gone up, and almost forgetting my wish and that dream I had, I completely forgot about it until not about 6 months ago. I told my wife, this is actually what I wanted to do. I mean, and she's like, yeah, you had said that. And it was a natural thing. And it's one of the best feel-good things I've ever done, no matter what came along with it, the hardships, and it's tough. Don't get me wrong, it's tough. And through the pandemic, we've gone through this, but you figure it out. And that's part of life.
Yeah.
That's a life lesson there.
So let me ask you a specific question. Maybe this goes back to your military time. Maybe it goes back to a prior job. But specifically to when you're sitting in your seat as a sophomore in high school, a junior in high school, first, a yes or no question. Did you foresee yourself ever owning and running a restaurant when you were in high school?
I didn't see myself running a restaurant, but I saw myself running a company. And that was my drive. I saw myself, I'm going to do it my way. I know I don't mind working for people. I'm a big team player, but sometimes you run into brick walls, and those are the things that I thought, look, if I can get in charge, I can go in a direction where I feel is okay and the right direction. And so that is one of the things I was looking forward to, but never thought I'd run a restaurant. Never, ever.
Yeah.
It was actually a dream later down the road. And so I actually didn't forget about the dream. I just thought, there's no way I'm going to. I just not going to put that much effort into it. And then as the good Lord, it just things sometimes just fall into your lap. And then
Yeah.
that's where I am. And so, and it has a lot to do with, Candace, my wife, has a huge Christian background, and so do I. And, I try to do the right thing. Matter of fact, I do the right thing as much as I possibly can. And if I don't, it affects me. It bothers me. So I think because the direction we were going in, it's made it a little successful, and it's worth the while. But like I said, in 10th grade, I saw myself running something, but not a restaurant. And so,
Okay. Well, I love, I'm hearing a lot about moral compass kind of drove you to how you run your business. I also heard you say about 6 months ago, you turned to your wife and you're like, wow, this is really what I wanted to do 6 months ago, which is way out of high school and prior jobs and so on. Right. So as you've evolved throughout your career, your ages, one of the big things I talk to my own kids about, and I know a lot of parents talk to their kids about, is don't worry about what you think you have to do right now and have it all figured out, right? But rather let your skills evolve. So your moral compass, I heard you say, also your ability to want to speak into and be a part of something and make a difference in something. My guess is that injected itself throughout your entire career and everything you did. And I wish we had more time to talk about because you spent time in the military, yes?
Yeah, I spent some time in the military. Here and abroad, and that shaped me a lot. Because I learned that when you set out to do something and you set out in your mind to do it, a lot of things are non obtainable. You think they are.
Yeah.
And I used to think that, but I did learn in the military that as a group and as a team and with a plan, you can reach that goal. I really believe that any goal could be reached without with the proper tools and the proper resources. It can be done. And so I try to even tell my kids and the kids here that there's nothing out of your reach. There's nothing out of your reach at what age you are, whether you're 22 or you're 65. Things can be done. We've learned to, I teach them completing the task. We talk about it all the time. Finish the task at hand, complete the task at hand, move forward to the next one. If it's overwhelming, chip away at it, chip each task away at it. And that's military. That's my upbringing in the military. And that's, back and forth. And actually, when I was with the DEA too. So we did a lot of things that seemed overwhelming, but we were able to take it in chunks and we were successful at it. And God willing, I'm still here. And so.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, as we land this plane, as my brother Herzog loves to say, give me within 60 seconds or less, give me what Ira today would tell Ira in high school years ago, now knowing what you know. What advice would you give yourself?
The advice I'd give myself is I would listen more to my elders, and I'd listen more to those that are leaders in the areas and experts and professionals. I would definitely heed to any information they'll give me. I'd utilize those resources, professors and advisors, even your neighbors and your ministers and friends of family members that have been there, because there's nothing more than learning experience than someone that's already been there. They don't have to be a genius. They don't have to be a rocket scientist. They've already been there. So they're telling you something that they already know, and they've been down that path. And if I could turn around, I think my road would have been 10 times easier. And if I look back at now and some of the decisions I made, I would have probably gotten here faster, but that's just the way it is. It's the way it is and what happens. But I would definitely listen to and like I said, not only to my family members, but a lot of people around me were talking to me. And I remember specifically only listening to certain ones, and I would listen to all of them. And I can remember some of the advice they gave me. I remember some of them now to this day. And I thought, I remember that. I remember them telling me that, and I didn't listen to it. So I would just respect your elders, respect those who've been there and come before you. And that's take that into consideration.
Which is good stuff and not easy. I mean, I'm sure you were not dissimilar to me. when I was in my teenage years, early 20 years, I mean, we had it all figured out, right? We knew everything.
Oh, yeah.
My dad or anybody else couldn't tell me. But you move through that stage. And so that advice is really good. And we still don't have it all figured out, but at least those life lessons and bruises and bumps, I hear you, can be learned from, and seek it out. I hear you saying, you know, so, well, I appreciate, man, I could talk to you for another 30 minutes plus easy. And I know these kids could to glean a lot from you. But here's the beauty. You're on 151st Street in Metcalf. I guarantee a lot of these kids have been in your store, eaten your food, had your soup. So here's what I'm going to give you a shameless plug. Here's the number. Call 913-897-7272. 913-897-7272. Get yourself a sandwich at Jersey Boys. Go through the drive-through line. 9 out of 10 times, Ira's going to greet you with a smile, or go in and get your food and sit and hang out. Great place to eat, great atmosphere, great employees, and run by a phenomenal owner, Ira Lockhart. We appreciate your time today. Thanks for joining us and for your insights. And hopefully we can get you involved on some more interviews and different things in the future. Appreciate it, brother.
Anytime. Brad, you're an asset to this place. They all know you here. They know you're a sandwich when you call. We're ready to make it. So we know exactly that number 4 whenever it's ready. So thank you guys again for allowing me to speak to you. And anytime you need anything, you let me know.
Appreciate it, buddy. You have a good rest of your President's Day, and I'll see you soon, okay?
All right. See you guys out there. All right. Thank you.
All right, man.
All right.
Thanks, Ira.
You got it.